fly. I be rolling with you, mommy, I be feeling the motion. When I'm inside you, I be deep as the ocean. When it comes to your love, can't lie, it be strong as a potion. That's why me and you forever be coasting. Let's roll. Co-pilot on the passenger side, be so fly. Yeah, she so lit, we so high. Just me and my chick, yeah. Just me and my chick, yeah. Co-pilot.
Yo, what up, y'all? What's going on out there? Y'all know the vibe, man. It's your boy, man. Rob One. We in the building, and we back for another one, sparking conversation, y'all. And y'all know how we do each and every week. Them Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. We get on here and we chop it up, and we chop it up with some of the most interesting people, and we get to move around and get the news out there. That's what I like to call it. I like to say that this is a platform here where we get the information out to our people that I feel like that we need. We always hear all the time. Oh, but first, before I get into all that, let me do this like I always do. Let me say thank you. Thank you to all of you guys that download the audio version of this podcast. I always got to make sure I give y'all a shout out. I'm about to just ramble because I was off last week. And it's just so much to say. But I'm in a new spot, new facility, got new energy. So yeah, definitely appreciate for those of you that was inquiring about the show last week and where we was. So I'm thankful for that, man. I'm just wanting y'all to know because like I said, anybody could get a microphone and a camera and the headphones and do all this other shit and jump out here and just start talking. But it's another thing where people really look forward to figuring out what you got to talk about and how interested it is. Because for the most part, I get it. A lot of people are hungry for information, and I'm thankful that, I'm not scared to give the information. Now, does the information always be received the right way? Nah, but that ain't my point. I mean, my problem at all. My point of having a platform is to spark conversation. That's why everybody we have come on here, although we may be talking about the topic that's affecting them the most, we still have a conversation about it where they don't feel like they getting drilled or, But I like to ask questions as well too, and that's how we get to know each other, and that's how we get to make sure that other people out here understand that you ain't the only one, especially when you got to think about something that you believe in, right? Something that you believe in, something that came from you, something that you thought about. And tonight we got a special guest, yo. We got the poet Vivid. We got Vivid the poet on tonight. You know what I'm saying? She's an author, and the whole nine. But we're gonna chop it up with her and we're gonna get into her life and figure out a lot of different things, okay? Because she's an interesting person. And like I say, that's what this platform is for. You know what I mean? My platform is for people who are really into what they into and they taking each and every day to take those steps to get there. And they're not thrown off by that instant microwave gratitude that everybody feels nowadays. You know how it go. If your shit don't blow, or you don't do platinum, or you don't do this, that, and the third when you first put things out, people get discouraged. They don't understand about that grind, right? That climb up. They don't understand about them steps. Like, yeah, it's a lot of flights up them stairs, but all you got to do is take one step at a time and you're going to get there. So the only time that you fail is when you don't try or when you stop. So I just like to tell anybody out there that's believing in themselves, keep believing. All right. Outside of that, we're gonna get into the guests. We're gonna bring on in a little bit. All right, bet. So remember, all of you guys that click the links in the descriptions, I thank y'all too. Thank you to all the people that jump out there and they check out what we got going on because that's very important too as well. Okay, so it's been a lot going on out here, y'all, and I just want to make sure that y'all pay attention, okay? Because technically, if you kind of look around, y'all, it's been a lot of distractions, right? A whole lot of distractions, and then things have been happening behind the scenes that's really interesting, and I don't know if a lot of people really pay attention to, but in our community, they've been telling us, or they've been trying to teach us about how to just follow propaganda. We've been following propaganda so long that the lie becomes the truth and we just believe it, and then we get filtered through by it, right? So your boy Tucker Carlson jumped out there and he went and interviewed Putin. Now I know for the most part, for most people, like they be like, yo, I don't care about that, whatever, whatever, that's their business over there, and I don't know, but do y'all understand that they just passed this bill? Well, they didn't pass it, but they trying. They got this bill that's in the background. They're trying to get to go through, and technically, they want to send about 95 billion over to Ukraine to help aid them in this conflict that's going on over there, based on a man who just got out there and chopped it up with fam and told y'all, like, listen, I don't want to do what I'm doing right now, but yo, y'all don't want to talk to me. I'm telling y'all, like, yo, y'all can't do this, and y'all just disrespecting me. And I think that when it comes down to anything, when it comes down to you just being a man, it's not hard for you to understand. Like, yeah, you could get into his other personal business about what he do. I'm not advocating for Putin or anybody in that particular scenario. That ain't my stand. My stand is on, if you don't watch what's going on and it's being done to you guys on purpose, you guys are going to run down to that pole in that same space that we're in, divided. We're always divided. It's always a means of dividing us, and they use every single tactic that they could use to make sure they keep us separate. Because for most of us, we think that it's still about black and white. We still thinking it's about man versus women and all this other corny shit that we do all the time, but it ain't. They have a real agenda, man, on controlling the population of the people based on, how they can keep their pockets fat. And the rest of us are just sitting around here. And I'm only saying us because I only include us in the situation because I know that it's us involved, even though, we got a whole nother plan going on. But I want y'all to pay attention and follow the money, all right? Follow the money and don't be afraid to ask questions, all right? Because look, New York is out here asking for 4.6 billion, and they the ones that asked for the people to come here. So what you think gonna happen when it come down to the vote? They know you guys. See, they know they following the black vote. They know they gonna vote the other way this time. So why you think they letting all these illegals in? And what you think gonna happen when they allow them to vote? They got 10 million of them already over here. So whenever they allow them to vote, what you think they gonna do? You think those people are not gonna vote for the people who they felt like gave them an opportunity? But where are the people coming from? We know how they getting here, but where are they all coming from? Y'all ever think about that? Yo? I don't know. But for the most part, I just want y'all to follow the money. I want y'all to pay attention because y'all know how we get down on here. We got to make sure we give y'all something to think about. Sparking conversation while y'all together with whoever you with, find something to talk about. That's something that y'all can. It's not necessarily about politics. It got everything to do with life. It got everything to do with business. Just like, for example, if they going crazy out here for all this electric vehicles and all this other stuff, then guess what? Then what stocks y'all know to start paying attention to? If y'all think AI gonna take your job, then what stocks are it for you to pay attention to? You want to be a person that's making money off of the person that's taking your job, right? So then these are things that you need to start paying attention to now. And it's hard to get people to change. They say you can't teach your old dog new tricks. So, whatever. But the point is, if you can't say that you ain't know something, if nobody didn't tell you so. Or for all of y'all listening to this and go listen to the playback, now y'all know. Y'all can't say y'all don't know. So all that other corny shit, don't talk. I don't want to hear all that other stuff y'all arguing and y'all talking about. If y'all cats ain't talking about generational wealth, there's no need for me to be in a conversation. So look, I'm about to bring the crew up, yo. So we're gonna get into this, yo. I bet, yo. So let me see who I got in the building. Let's see who we got. Meet. What up, y'all?
What up? What
Hi.
up?
I
I look
see you.
wild. I look crazy for the streets today, so
That's cool. I'm
you're
gonna grow my
welcome.
hair back, yo.
You couldn't even grow one hair. Stop
Come on,
playing.
man. Stop playing. Y'all already started.
Stop
Illy
playing.
D, what up, y'all?
What up? What up?
Ain't nothing. What's going on with you, bro?
Out here living it one day at a time, brother.
Hey, yo, I feel you, man. I feel you. I mean, yo, that's all we could do out here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, yo, but look, man. So look, I know, y'all know tonight we got a special guest on, right? And an author, a poet. It's gonna be dope, man. And listen, I want to know because like it's a lot of things that people do out here, right? Sometimes we don't ever what I would like to talk to more people who are in the literary space, right? So more people, because like I meet. So take you for example. We know you do plannings, right? So um, after a person fills that out for a year, they could go back and reflect over their year, and that can be a story,
Yeah,
right?
I actually had a customer. I created a journal for her, 30-day one, and she put it and created a book from it.
See what I'm saying? And then it's always a reference guide to help you tell a story, even if it's just a story you need to tell for yourself. You just never know. But that's another form of it, but not in the form of a person who actually sits down and say, yo, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to deliver this to the world. And this is my form of art. And I think that is important because as an artist myself, I want to pay homage to all art. Because I know, like you said, Tamika, you said, yo, right, you look like you only listen to your own shit.
Because you do. Because you really do. Like, that's what I expected to hear you playing was your own shit.
But check this out, though. It goes back to the fact of how art is just all subjective, right? It's a thing, but it's something whenever you feel passionately about something that you are driven to do. When it's sometimes when it ain't really about the money. Right? It's about the passion and the drive that you have. It's just like doing this platform or whatever. Like, yeah, eventually it'll get to where it gotta go. It's gonna turn over $1. We're gonna put that in the atmosphere. But yo, if I got to figure out that, then I wouldn't be doing it now. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, you gotta put in the work. So look, we're gonna bring her up real quick. All right. So and listen, and this is the thing, yo. Don't nobody out there say that black men do not give our women an opportunity. Y'all gotta change the narrative, man. All right? Y'all gotta change the narrative. Y'all gotta stop lying. Y'all gotta stop throwing that out there because we do support. So let's see what we got going on out here, y'all. All right. There she go.
Hey, how are you?
Good evening, good evening, good evening. So listen, this is what we want you to do. We want you to go ahead and introduce yourself to the people and the crew.
Well, my name is Dr. SILNETTRA Barnhill, aka Vivid the Poet. I'm a native of Kinston, North Carolina. I currently reside in Sanford, North Carolina. I'm a graduate of North Carolina A&T, Aggie Pride. And currently got my doctorate in special education at North Carolina Central University. I'm an author, a poet, as he said, a motivational speaker. You name it, I do it. I just love to inspire people each and every day.
Oh, yo, that's fly. Because that's one thing that a lot of people take for granted is the form of inspiration when you can pour into other people, even when you don't, when things may not be even going the way that you wanted to go in your life, but you always shine that light. You know what I'm saying? And then it come back around. Hey, yo, so the crew, this is Mika, and that's my boy Illy D. Williams over there.
What up? What up?
Like I said, we sparking conversation, and we like to just, have a little conversation real quick, and we just want to talk to you a little bit about Kinston, if that's cool.
Okay.
So listen, so Kinston has a really, really, really unique history. A very unique history, y'all. And I mean, like, I was blown away to learn about how, the development of Kinston and what used to go on there and the place that Kinston used to be unspite anywhere else on the East Coast and how special it was. And I know a lot of people don't really know that story. And I think it's crazy. So you grew up in Kinston or what?
I grew up in Kinston. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So look, let's talk about Kinston a little bit. So Kinston is famous, right? For number one, for being a place where the military used to come a lot back in the day, right? Or did you not? You know the stories of what's going on?
The basketball player.
Well, y'all have a couple of basketball
Yes, players.
Stackhouse.
Yeah. Y'all got a few.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all got a few coming from out of that area.
Brandon Ingram.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, Kinston got some ballers, right?
Oh yeah, BI balling right now. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, and I think it's out there in the water because it's a lot of them schools out there. They always had good players coming from out that area. They always talk about y'all in the other way though.
And what is that? And what is that? And what kind of way is that?
How y'all get busy out here in them streets, y'all.
Oh.
Busy. I feel like I'm blinding myself. What the heck? I'm trying to be light skinned. I don't know if y'all ain't caught one.
I was just about to say you got your light skin filter on.
Yeah, I was
Like,
listening. Yo, I just felt like I was ghosting out here, yo. Like, yo, I had to check myself.
You look gray as fuck.
Yeah, yo. Right, a little alien. It don't help. I got Horus on my chest too. It ain't. Yeah, that's crazy. But so that's what they say about Kinston. But tell us. So how was it growing up in Kinston for you?
It was well, I mainly grew up in the country setting of Kinston. So it was pretty much laid back. I went to North Sonora High School. So Brandon Ingram and then went to Kinston High. So that was more in the city part, but I was more in the country, rural part. Tobacco field, not much as far as development until after I left. I left probably around 2002. I really haven't been home much. I go there every now and then. Once I graduated high school, I went on to college. And I really didn't turn back to go because there's nothing really back there. But my mom there, so I go back home and visit some. But now when I go back, everything where I was is cut down, more houses built, more, it's just more development based on when I was living there, where it was mainly trees and tobacco fields. That ain't there no more. It's houses they built.
Hey, yo, I ain't gonna lie. It's a lot going on down there. That's pretty cool too. I've been recently, and well, not as recently as this year, but I've been more recent than not, and it's nice. Like downtown Kinston, they're really trying to do some things out there.
But that ain't
But
no place you want to go back to.
oh, yeah, I feel you. See, look, I feel you. Hey, yo, sometimes when you gotta go, you gotta go. Ain't no
Go.
looking back for some people. Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, I feel you. So, all right. So you went from there, and then you went to college, and then so where did you pick up the passion for poetry, or was that your first love, or education? Which one? Which one?
No, so in college, I just wanted to dib and dab into it. I pretty much I used to have some school projects in college, and I try to get up there in front of the class and recite a poem. Of course, I got F's in all of that because they didn't see my passion, they didn't see my vision. So I did about 2 or 3 times in class, and then after that, I just gave up on poetry because I was like, man, maybe this ain't what I'm supposed to do. But then a couple of years went on, and I got married. And going through my divorce, I pretty much didn't have an outlet to express myself. Everybody didn't want to listen. They didn't want to hear what I had to say. So I took my pen to my paper and I started writing. And that's what inspired my first book, Unveiling the Shadow Beyond the Counterfeit Image. It's pretty much taking off the masks that everybody put on you to try to be and becoming who you are. And
Right.
so that was where I was able to express all my pain and all my feelings in my book. And from there, I pretty much opened up more with my poetry and expressing myself.
Gotcha. So I wanna ask the crew about that thing right there, yo. So something that you said. So Kev, has there ever been something that you were passionate about at one point, but then you stopped or you gave up, but based on maybe it's seeming like it's not working or maybe not the thing that you're supposed to do? Is there anything that you can recall doing that too?
yeah, I mean, people that know me and that like who actually know Illy and not Kev,
Right,
they know I did music.
right,
And I mean big time. Like I was performing everywhere. I was very passionate about it. But sometimes when you don't take off the way that you thought you were,
right.
you just be like, all right, maybe this ain't it. Maybe this is just a pastime. Maybe this is just, one way that I can use my gift, but maybe it's not the way I'm supposed to use my gift.
Gotcha.
Um, and I've always like ever since I was 14, I had a job. So my money came from working. So everything else was around that. Work, school, school, work, school. went through college and everything. And it's like, yeah, it's cool that you opening up for people, that you're on stage, but this degree is what's going to pay the bills. When you don't have that support system pushing you, saying, hey, this could be your path, you start looking at it like, well, maybe this little corner office job is the best way, because every 2 weeks that check's going to be there, and I'll be able to live a modest life, off of that. And, you throw a rock at a corner of people and you have 27 rappers going to come out. Everybody got bars, everybody got bars. And that's the thing. People will strongly discourage you from doing something that you're passionate about, or something that you feel like you have a talent for. So, yeah, I put the mic down a long time ago. So that's one of them things,
Gotcha. What about you, Meek? Anything that you put down before that you were passionate about, and based on things not maybe perceived to be looking like it's meant to be or not?
Yeah, I mean, I go, I do things spontaneously. Okay. So when I have an idea of something, I do it right away, but then I might back off. My passion for it might fade. I haven't really had anybody tell me that I can't do something that I start.
Right.
Because they know if I really am into it, I'm not going to stop. So they just fill me out. The people who know me know they're just going to fill out my interest. And let me see what I'm gonna rock with. Because my ADHD, I have different fixations. I'll be fascinated with something for 2 weeks straight, and will think and live and breathe it for 2 weeks, and then I won't think about it for a couple of years. But one of the things I do want to pick back up is jewelry making. I did that a few years ago. I didn't know I was creative until a couple years ago. Honestly, I thought I had no talent. Like, not in a bad way. Like, I never thought of it as a negative. I just didn't think I had a talent. I thought some people had talent and some people really didn't. And so in the last 3 years, there's been a ton of things that I've picked up creatively and just kind of kept putting them to the side. But I know they're all going to come back.
Yo, that's something that you say that, because there are a lot of people who don't know, right, what they can do until they do it. We hear it all the time, yo. Like, nah, that's them, that's that person, that'll never be me, or that nah, I never, saw myself doing that. And then you can do it, but then once you try it, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
so I can really do this. It's like, yeah, like you think that the people are so much different from you because they at a certain level. And I think that's where people get it messed up at. It's that level versus
Yeah.
it being that thing. Like, it's like, yo, it's in you too. But everybody don't have a desire to be in front of the camera either. So, right? So there are people who like to be in the background. So with that, they don't know that they could be good in front of the camera because they don't have a desire to be. So let's talk. All right, so let me ask you again. So, doctor, let's go here, Vivid. So whenever you decided to write your book, you all right, so did you immediately go into poetry? Did you write it as a book too, like a poetry book, or you just started writing it and then just going to perform that?
No, so I just start writing, and then words start rhyming. And then I just, like, my first poem was Strength of a Woman. It pretty much talked about how I went through college, was able to graduate with honors, was able to enjoy raising an infant by myself while I went through 3 years of school with no help. So I just pretty much told that story in a poem form. And I don't know, I just started writing, and then it started rhyming. And then later on, when I was going through my divorce, the pain started coming out. So I really haven't opened up that book since then because
Wow.
it's painful to me. But I can sell it, like, it's on Amazon. You can read it yourself. But I don't open it up because it brings back memories to me. But
Gotcha.
now, and then there's a platform called Clubhouse. And on that platform during COVID, because COVID hit right after that, I started getting up there learning. hearing other poets, um, brushing up on my technique, and that's how I became who I am today. And not only that book, I wrote another book right after that, which is pretty much a story format of the poem book that I wrote, Unveiling of the Shadow Beyond the Counterfeit Image Part 2, and that's pretty much my stories. And then after that, I wrote a relationship book, and that was coming out of my divorce. And I wanted to write how an alpha woman looks like and what she looks like when she's looking for a man. And so it's all of that evolves over time of, writing. So it just a process.
That's process. Well, no. I asked that because for most people who are writers, right? We had a artist on a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about how there are certain people who are like in the music field who can do songs without writing, right? They could just get in there, they get on the beat, they feel it, and they go. And
Mhm.
then we were also talking about the difference between those type of guys and people who actually write, because sometimes the thought process that it takes to write something, it gives you a release for some reason. I don't know why, but I think writing is just one of the most, it's like one of the most therapeutic ways to get things out, because like you said, you wrote the pain in the book, but you were able to get it out. And so as you were able to evolve and get into the other aspects of your pen game, you were able to get past this with
Mhm.
through your first book. And it's because you had that release. Now, granted, we know there's a lot of people who don't understand it. That's why I said what Tamika said was important about how sometimes you don't know what you can do until you do it. It's just that, will a person try, or can a person motivate a person to try? Because I would love for a person who is thinking about committing some type of harm to themselves to hear your story and just try to pick up a pen and see if that will help them get some of the things that's in them out of them, if they can't afford maybe someone to go sit down and talk to, you know. Or if it's something like that. So through you, I know you said a couple of things that you wrote through your divorce and through your struggle and stuff like that. Um, how motivating was that in order for you to think, to yourself, I got to get through whatever this is I'm going through? Because raising an infant by yourself and school, and I'm sure did you have to work at the same time?
Yeah. Mhm.
And you had to work. So you left that out. So just imagine. And you had to work. So yikes. Because look, I have a 16-month-old, and I'm trying to tell you, son be wilding, yo. So there's no way I could understand somebody going 3 years by themselves, with no help. So, um, is that the pain that motivated you, or is it more so that responsibility that you had in front of you that motivated you to have to figure out a way?
It was just the things that I was going through, the heartbreak and the struggle, because it's tough trying to go through a master's program by yourself, raising a child. And then not only that, having to keep your grades up and work, and then having to be a wife on top of that, and all the other things that young people may go through, in a marriage. So it was all that, just trying to get all that on paper, that pretty much inspired me to write. But I tell you this, that once I did get it out and I was able to move past it, and then I shared my story during my graduation, I was able to motivate one other person right behind me to be able to go back to school while pregnant. Because if she didn't hear my story or see my story, she wouldn't have been able to go back to school, because I was told that I should have took off and I should have waited, but while I had a little infant and by myself. So it's a whole lot into that, as far as the motivating part and motivating others.
Gotcha, gotcha. But no, it's important that you say that because Kev said this a little earlier about the way people project, right? What there is really, they project their insecurities onto you. and they'll tell you what you can and can't do, or try to put you in a position where, because what people think they're doing is they think they're helping you. And a lot of people think they're keeping it so-called real by trying to tell you always the negative part of whatever your vision could be. So, for example, you can tell people, hey, you know what? I'm going to go build a car, right? I got a vision to build a car. When I was little, my uncle had a shop and he showed me how to build a car from the bottom all the way up. And then there'll be somebody that'll come behind him and say, well, listen, I don't know if your uncle taught you how to build no electric vehicle though, man. Everybody want electric vehicles. Why you gonna try to build cars now? Like, don't build cars. Like, we ain't still out here worrying about what the price of gas is. Like, if they ain't building enough of them, I don't know what you talking about. But there's a thing that a person will get into that whole bag. It's the same thing with crypto. Hey man, nah, man, you better not get into that. We don't understand that. And then now you see that they trying to get rid of the dollar on purpose. So then they could do what? Turn it into digital currency. It's like it's hard to try to get people to think past that sometimes, right? Because there are a group of people who just feel like fear is the realest thing that there is, like, to be scared. Like, yeah, man, look, I don't know, man, because like take for example, even writing your book. Now, for the most part, if you'd have told people, hey, I'm gonna write this book because I got these things that I want to deal with, most people probably would have told you, man, writing a book, man, you better go talk to somebody. And then what if that would have been the motivation and you would have said, you know what, yeah, and then you wouldn't have had that book. So then now you got to keep remembering the conversation you have with this person to try to help you not deal with the conversations that you was having with yourself before you go talk to them. That's what's crazy. Let me ask you something, Kev. Like, in that particular aspect of saying to yourself, because I remember you was talking about working, and like Vivid was saying, there will be people that'll tell you, "Look, listen, you should don't think about this." I don't know if they told you that when it came to the music. Yo, man, listen, that music ain't gonna pay you, man. Yo, man, focus on that job. Go get that job, man. Make sure you keep a job. And then not knowing that, well, dad, yo, maybe I didn't think about that. There's so many different ways I can make money off my music. Like, why nobody never told me about licensing before? Why the guy that is the biggest rapper in the world, everybody told me that I gotta jump up and down on stage and chase festivals and luckily meeting people to do all this to get my joint out. I didn't know that you can just license your joint and then it'll be in a movie and you'll never be on the radio, but you'll never have to work again. You see what I'm saying? Like, nobody tell the artist that. So then they do give up. Because then they thought that because they were supposed to be famous, they didn't know that their gift was through their music. But they thought they were supposed to be famous. Your gift wasn't supposed to be famous. Not you, Cab. I'm just talking about in the sense of a person who has that. So I'm asking you now, did
Yeah.
you would you look at it? Yeah, I wasn't I wanted to be clear. I do that all the time when I talk to people because I don't want them to think I'm jabbing. I gotta do that. Because I could say that about myself too. Right? So, but look, so I'm saying to you, is that a thing for you too, where you had to find motivation around what people were saying?
Yeah. I mean, you got to think, man, there are people who have never stepped outside of their neighborhood. So anything that you tell them outside of what they know sounds crazy, sounds foreign. There's no way I could do that. That's crazy. You don't want to do that. Just go down here and get you a job at the mill. Don't go chasing the big city. Don't go chasing the lights. And you remember such and such, they did that, and look at them now. Like, there are people who want to keep you like this, nice and confined in a path that they can understand. So I dealt with that a lot. And then I'm like second generation. My dad did music, so it's funny. I look at Nas, I look at Drake, and they talk about their relationships with their fathers and how it was strained because their fathers went and pursued their music and chose that over their children. And it's like, my dad did that too. Like, I have the same type of story. And when I sit here and listen to Vivid talk about kind of wanting to express herself, and the time wasn't right. You know, I don't know if I
Right.
could do this. I don't know if this is for me. It takes me to that movie, The Five Heartbeats, where Robert Townsend's character, they asked him, like, why are you such a good writer? And he said, true writing comes from pain. So he had that pain, and that's what gave his music meaning, because people connected to pain. It's a real emotion,
Facts.
real emotion.
Facts.
So, you know, I say all of these things just to bring it all back in. A lot of people are afraid to spread their wings and fly. So they're going to tell you to stay in the tree with them. Hey, stay in the nest. It's safe right here in the nest. You don't know what's out there. Don't fly. Don't go. Stay right here where you know it's safe. Mom's going to come back and she going to chew some food up and give it to us. You'll never learn how to go get food for yourself if you listen to these people. You know, and that's what that job was in all these jobs. And I've always been able to get a job, you know, and I've had people from work come to shows and they're like, yo, why do you come to work every day? Like, this is nothing. Like, you could get on tour with somebody and make what you make in a month. I mean, in a year here, you can make in one show. You know, but it's that, you know, what's been ingrained in you since you were little. Go to school, graduate, go to college, get a degree, get a good job, and basically make someone else's dream a reality. You know, work 40 years, retire at 65, barely able to move, and, you know, have a couple of years, and then you're in a nursing home, your life is over. And never once did you actually live in the talent that God gave you. Never once. Because, you
Yeah.
know, you might have been the best forklift driver in the world, but there ain't no war for that.
Nah, that's a fact.
Can't leave
No,
that for your children.
no, you're right. I mean, we are all born with something. I just believe that everybody is special. I think that if you think about the miracle of life, man, you know, it'd be a million of them swimming for one spot. And whoever you are that got here, you was that one that made it, yo. You know what I'm saying? So you got to think about it. 1 in a million shot. So anytime a person think that they don't have the odds are against them, you got to think about it. It was the odds were against you to even be here. So if you're here, that means you can do whatever it is that you feel like it is that you're supposed to be doing. Long as it's what you're supposed to be doing. Sometimes people got to see things in the perspective. That's the hardest part about it. Not that a person ain't supposed to do something. It's just that what reward are you expecting from it?
Right.
That might be where the vision gets, obscured at. So let me ask you this because I remember one show we was talking, and it goes in the premise of what everybody else is saying. Because even having to uproot yourself from where you're comfortable to move to a place where you don't know nobody or had any kind of like immediate ties go along with what Vivid was saying at the same time because you had a child and you up and move and you didn't have no one around you to even help, like not even a half of a babysitter. You know what I'm saying? Like you was just here, and in that in them moments, it's like yo, how y'all share a certain, That's why I say I hate when people compare stories to people to try to make it like mine is worse than the other. It's like nah, you just had to go through what you had to go through. But listen, somebody can relate to you, right? So me, you had to endure that same scenario, right? So that pressure of having to do stuff on your own and having to provide at the same time, right? How did you get the motivation you did to make that happen?
I had some people back home that thought I was crazy. Because I didn't know anybody here. Like, what do you mean you about to leave a full-time job, a place where your whole family's at, to go somewhere you've never been with no job lined up? And I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna go do that. And part of it was I had to prove them wrong. There were a couple of people who were like, oh, you'll be back in like 6 months. And I was like, fuck you. Those are the people I remembered as I came here and set up shop because I was like, definitely is not going to happen. And they actually have just seen me progress since I've been here. I'm a
Gotcha.
completely different person. I've grown in so many different ways that I couldn't back home.
Right.
And so I did it partly to show people that we can, you can leave home in your comfort zone and come out better than you were. It's going to take work, takes persistence, but it's possible.
Facts. And yeah, and that's a real thing. So even this, so Vivid, let me ask you this. So in those moments when you were going through the things that you were going through, uh did you ever think did you write during those times, or did you find the space to have to write once you got into a space where you wasn't dealing with maybe the divorce and all those other things right then and there? Because I would imagine, like, going through a divorce, I went through a divorce myself, so I could understand how certain times emotions be so weird in the space that you're in.
Mhm.
So you don't think about these things. But did you find the space to write during the things that you were going through, or was it more so once you were able to?
Well, well, I can actually say that I had some even tougher once I started going through my divorce. When I started, when I separated and moved out of my marital house, I actually started my dissertation. So a dissertation is a whole different ball game than writing
Mm,
a poem.
right,
It's a chapter 1 through 4. You got the 230-page book. You got to go through writing. So I had to write that at the start of my divorce. And took me 6 years. But I'm like, Mika, once you tell me that I can't do it, I'm going to prove you wrong, right? So I had
gotcha.
my teacher tell me that I couldn't do it, which was my professor told me, you know what, you might as well take off. This time I didn't have one baby. I had two. So I had a 13-month-old, I have a 6-month-old, and then I had a 7-year-old. So I had all three of them by myself, starting my dissertation. 6-year process, and I graduated with a 3.5 while going through my divorce. And so my motivation was I flew them to California for them to see me walk across the stage to show
Wow.
them that you can do anything you want to do. I want that to be the remembrance of mommy that you see, that you can go. So, you know, that then I came back to poetry, but it's more positive now. Once I got that pain out, I ain't go back to that. So everything after that was positive. Like, what we gonna do to uplift?
Yeah, yeah. And see, that's where we got to get to the space, right? It's like, yo, deal with the pain head on, right? And not try to bottle it up and hold it in as much as possible, right? Motivating people to find an outlet, and then sometime writing. And again, first, people, I just want y'all to know, yeah, you might write a book, but it may not be a New York bestseller. That's not the point. The point is, though, if you can get one person to read it and it helps them, you have done a justice. It may not seem like it to you, but it has. Yes, if you have visions and dreams of being a New York Times bestseller, yo, go for it. Get on your promotion marketing game. Listen, I ain't knocking it. I'm just saying you just never know. It doesn't mean that you're not meant to do something because you're not meant to be famous behind it. Just think about that, right? All right, so look, through the pain, right? I think we all can relate through having to push through the pain. But then whenever you get past the pain, it's the time to turn it into a positive, right? So in the positive, let's talk a little bit about the type of poetry that you do now, right? So let's get into that because I think we brushed over that, right? We know what the book is about, right? We get through that. So now, when we get to what the positive part of what the poetry is, let's talk a little bit about that. So, what would tell the people what you consider your poetry to be?
So I got my name Vivid the Poet because I'm one that loves to tell stories in my poem. Very clear, very succinct. Whenever I deliver a message, you can see the picture visually, right? So I do a variety of poetry from metaphors to romance to erotic to love poems, pain poems. I just got a little variety. I just actually came back from South Carolina I performed there this past weekend. Intimate erotic poetry show with the pole dancers. And so it's been a while since I did erotic because I flew to Chicago and I did a feature last March. And then normally every year during the summertime and the fall, I do an autism awareness event, and I do a breast cancer awareness. So I have to write poems based on that to inspire women who go through that and kids who go through that. So I just do a variety. Just depends on what the theme is.
Oh no, that's cool. Yeah, so your pen game strong for real. Cause so most people they stick to a niche when they do poetry. Whatever it is, they just do that one thing. And I mean, not that that's a bad thing at all. I'm just saying, most people, they get into a niche. So the fact that you kind of universal with your pen, that's pretty dope, yo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's a good look. And so whenever people book you for these shows, they tell you ahead of time what the theme is, and then you just either come up with it on the spot or you go into your bag and just get what pull out some things or whatever.
No, for my shows, no, I write a whole, show. So they'll tell me, Sinatra, I want to book you for the breast cancer awareness. So I got 15-minute show, and so I do about 4 or 5 poems that I write fresh. But if I go to an open mic, I may do an old poem. But for most times in my shows, I write new stuff. Like this one I did this past weekend. I had an old one, but I added to it to change it up. But most times, yeah, I write new ink, fresh ink.
Okay, dope, dope, dope. All right, so look, I wanted to talk a little bit about a point. I think it's important because we hear these terms thrown around a lot, but I like to get your perspective on it. All right, so I heard you say earlier about an alpha female. So if you can help me, like what is that considered to be to you? Like what is an alpha female?
Oh Lord, here we go. Uh, all right, so for me, I wrote that book because my mother is a strong woman. I grew up with just my mom. She raised me. She worked. She went to school herself. She raised 3 kids. So she was always, strong, never giving up. The same type of person that I am. So when I think of alpha, I think of a strong woman. Now, some people may think independent, right? Don't need to depend on nobody. That could be a little bit, just a little bit. But for me, my definition was what I mentioned, the strong independent woman, I guess I say.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Well, look, nah, that's a more simpler version. All right,
Yeah.
because as most people that carry alpha in front of themselves, not you, but I'm just saying in general, it just comes with a laundry list of
Yes.
qualifications that make a person feel like this is their title. Because
Hmm.
believe it or not, on the alpha male side, which to me is corny, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because anytime you have to refer to yourself as something, I just don't feel like that's what you are. Now I
Hmm.
can see if a person approaches you and says this what you are. Like for example, if you're a painter and you're painting and somebody walk up to you and say, "Hey man, you're a painter." Oh yeah, well why? Yes I am. But not for you to go to somebody and be like, they don't know you a painter. They don't see you painting. They ain't never seen no paint, and you just walking up to them, "Hey, I'm the best painter ever." Like what? Like yo, everybody should follow me. I'm an alpha painter. Like, yo, son, like where do you get that from? It's because nah, because this is how I feel. I feel alpha, so I am alpha. So anytime people put those type of, like titles in front of them, it comes with a laundry list. So I'm glad that you broke it down like that because I want to make sure because like look, hey Kev, like listen, how often do we hear the word alpha? Me, how often do we hear the word alpha?
Frequently.
Never correctly, but we hear it.
You hear it a lot.
And so it's very important. That's why I say, like, let's get people's perspective on it, because by no means is it going to be a man versus woman thing. We don't do that. But I definitely, I just don't, I don't get it from the man's perspective. Now I understand where you coming from the female's perspective of having to be strong in a position where you really shouldn't have had to do it by yourself. You know, but then again, we don't know people's relationship. That's the one thing about it. We don't know the other people's side of the story, or why they weren't there, or why didn't they contribute to the life of their child.
The military life is hard. You know what I mean? Deployments. And so I was put in a place to be in a role like that where I always did it by myself, because he was always gone and deployed. So that was the
Oh,
only
yeah.
that he wasn't there.
Well, that makes sense. That makes sense. So you pretty much knew already, based on the profession that he was in, that you would probably be the one that's having to do the most when it came to the children. But then
Yeah.
you had to still concentrate on the things that you had to do as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, that makes it tough. But that also is a sign of a person who faces thing head on too, because you pretty much knew. Like, it wasn't like you were just blindsided, 3 months in, like, yeah, I'm out. And you're like, well, what?
Well, well,
Uh
well.
uh, uh
He got married in October, and they told him in November he was leaving.
uh.
So,
Wow.
so I had to decide on: am I going to stay back here to school, or am I going to go where he is stationed? So we both decided that it was best for me to stay back here and go to school while he go get stationed somewhere else. And we did that for 3 years, and that's how that happened.
Gotcha. So once he was deployed, he was gone for 3 years.
Yeah, so first he was stationed in Georgia, at another base, and then they sent him on to where was Afghanistan
Right.
for about a year, and then sent him somewhere else. So we really didn't come back together till about 2.5 years later.
Sounds about right. That military life is crazy.
Yikes. Okay. So that had to be a lot to adjust to at times. I would
Yes.
say. I would imagine. So emotionally, you just been all over the place a lot of times, then, huh?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
See,
Mm-hmm.
that makes for that content flowing like it does.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, right. I mean,
Yeah.
look, they said you can't have a testimony without test, right? So,
Look. Yep. Definitely. Definitely. Definitely.
so okay, so I think I heard you earlier in your so you did get your master's, right? And so then you got your doctorate too?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, you just kept going. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's your nickname. We should have put in you got the whole long thing right here. It's almost like your name Latino. That's how long they name be. That be their whole name. So you got to put that in there in the middle somewhere.
Keep going. Look, I'm
Keep
done now. I'm
You gotta
done. I'm
look, you
done now.
gotta spell it out just like that too. Keep going, the whole thing. Don't shorten it up or nothing. Put it in your junk. Because that's crazy. Yeah, so I could see why a lot of women are inspired by you. So how often do you do do you coaching, or what is it, what else do you do outside of the writing aspect?
So, like I said, I do motivational speaking. I'm the author, poet. I do tutor. Well, not tutor. I'm an occupational therapist in the school system, and then I also do contracting on the side where I treat students through a contracting agency. I also do a little real estate. I got a little hand in everything.
Yeah, fine. Look, we'll talk off air. We get to that. But look, I think that's dope. So the motivational speaker part. So do people book you the same way as they do um for your poetry and stuff like that, or do you like you mostly
So,
online? How
so with my speaking, I've my first one was at a college, a university. Well, not at a university, at a little community college, and I got to speak for 2 graduations. And then my alma mater called me back to do a penning ceremony for my graduating class 2 years ago. So that was like 350 people I spoke to for the graduating class. I also speak to, wherever they book me. But yeah, those are the main things I've done so far. Colleges and universities.
Oh yeah, that's dope. That's dope. Hey, you know what, Kev? I was thinking, yo, I was like some of the posts that you put up some really good questions, and it seemed like you get a lot of feedback too. Even one, it looked like you had to go back and forth with a few people on one of them.
Yeah.
Could you see yourself being a motivational speaker?
It's funny that you say that. I know that, like I kind of mentioned earlier, there's more than one way to use your voice,
Mm,
and maybe it's not pulling up on the ops with the chop. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's not that. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause that's all they rap about now. You know what I'm saying? So
right,
there's different ways to use your voice. When I was younger, I wrote poetry. You know what I'm saying? I sang. My voice changed. It got deeper. I couldn't hit the notes no more. So then I transitioned to that.
right,
I mean, anytime that I speak, like I speak at work, like anytime we have our floor meetings, I speak, and people are like, "You are such an amazing speaker. Like, have you ever thought about, being a motivational speaker, or, do you feed, do you give back to the youth? Like, are you out there trying to inspire?" I'm like, nah, not really. Nah, I'm not, you know. But anyway,
yeah, I know, I
so
know.
it's interesting though, man, because yeah, when I was much younger, I wanted to go into politics. But I'm very opinionated, and I'll tell you exactly how I feel. And when you don't play the game, I've never been a person to play the game. Even though I've always done these little jobs, 9 to 5. I'm always that person that's going against the grain. If
Right.
y'all telling us, hey, we got to be here at 8, I'm gonna push that line. 8:03, 8:05, 8:10. You telling me 15-minute breaks. Okay, 16, 17, 38 minutes. Do something. Talk to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you're renting me for a short period of time. It's just, and you're not paying me what I'm worth. So it's like you gonna get 27 minutes of work out of these 60. Like, stop playing with me.
They
You
stop
gotta
playing.
find, you gotta go find a sandbox to play in. You feel
Yeah,
me?
man,
So
I'm about to get y'all. Yeah, I ain't gonna hold you.
I ain't gonna
Y'all,
hold you. Like, that's the thing. Like, I'm exchanging my time and giving up my gift for you. You're not getting. Listen, I'm in this. I'm doing everything. You know what
sunset.
I'm saying? So
Doing everything, doing a little shift. That
you
work
know what I'm
shift.
saying. Don't let me work from home one day.
I was just about to say I work from home, so I don't be doing shit.
I was I was gonna come to you next. I was thinking, so like even when you do the life coaching and stuff like that with people, that comes with some form of motivation too, though, right? Like,
Yeah,
is that more like speaking into people as well, or is it more so no, because I mean, yeah, right?
yeah, because a lot of them they don't have that faith in themselves yet, so it's building them up. It's
Mhm.
giving them that confidence back. It's pulling from them things that they probably wanted to do, but they were too scared. People keep talking them out of it. I try to get to those limited beliefs that they've had, things that we were taught as kids. Like Kev was saying, you go to school, you get a degree, you get a job. And so many people have that drilled into them, and it doesn't feel natural for them. And so it's pulling that thing from them and letting them see there is another side, there is more. So it is speaking life into them so that they can wake up, because they've been just going through the process, waking up
Right,
every day and doing what they're supposed to do
right.
instead of what they want.
Yeah, so that makes sense. So I guess being motivational speaker or being motivating to people is I look at that as a blessing too. Like I like people who like to motivate people. I think it's very far and few in between too that people really have that thing in them that they want to see other people do good, like
Yeah.
or do great, because that's the thing. Most people they like you, they want you to be successful until you get past them, and then nah, I ain't
Let's bring you
supporting
back
you.
down. Where are you going?
Yo, you don't need it. I thought you had a million. You don't need my little like. Yo, come on, B. Like it's okay to give me a million at once. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. Don't count the million. But it's a lot of people who look at shit that way, though, right? So, Vivid, let me ask you this. So, whenever you get into, your zone now, as being that you went through a lot of those different things, that you went through. Do you find yourself motivating only? You know what? Let me not just keep acting like I ain't got a ghost. My little sign just keep falling, so let me just pull it on
That
that.
shit was like,
Because if I don't, somebody is gonna sit up here and think that I got a little Casper running around. But dang, what was I saying? Okay, yeah. So whenever you damn, I lost what I
You
lost
ask
my
me
train.
whenever I get in my zone, then
Right.
what?
So now that you've been through all the pain, do you find yourself speaking mostly to women or men? Like who are you really catering to mostly? Is it mostly to women when you're getting in that bag now?
Pretty much single moms.
Single moms. Okay. So that's
Mhm.
your niche,
That's
single mom.
my, yeah. That's who I find myself connecting more with now. That's been through military marriages, and
Wow.
inspiring them, and especially the moms who have small kids and feel like they cannot do anything else but work. Well, I'm here to tell you that you can do anything you want to do. You just got to put your mind to it. I had nothing. I grew up in that Section 8, food stamps, all that stuff to get where I am now. I was the first one in my family to get a master's and a doctorate. But I'm one that, like I said before, you tell me I can't do it, I'm going to show you different. So, yeah, mainly the crowd now is just single moms, military families, and yeah, that's it. Women.
No, I never thought about it in that sense that yeah, when it comes to being married to someone in the military. Like I never thought about it from that perspective. Cause you never really hear about too much from the other end too, like the man who's married to a woman and she's deployed and he's here. Like I would like to have that conversation too, just to see, you know what I mean? Because it's important that people who are enlisted in the military still have the opportunity to have a family. It's just really tough that they have to be gone so long without the access to them.
Mhm.
that's why I got out when I was pregnant with my oldest.
Mm.
I was like, nah, I can't. I was gonna deploy for 15 months. I was like, yeah, nah, I'm good.
What is not even that is when you come back and you're not the same person as you went before. I mean, when you got all
Yeah,
these mental health stuff and they got you on all this medication and you have to decide on whether I'm going to take it and or whether I'm just going to be able to function with my family. And that's the gap with the military is they help you function at work but not at home. And
yeah.
so
They
it's a
don't
big.
transition us out that great. Well, at least they didn't when I got out. I got out almost. It's been 17 years, so it's been a minute since I got out. But the transition out isn't great. If it was, the suicide rate in veterans wouldn't be so high.
Mhm.
Nah, that's a real fact though, and the fact that you said that, Vivid, is crazy because that's the one part that I think people don't understand. Like the people go away one way, but because they have to take so many different types of things just to be in there, different types of medicines, vaccines, shots, all this other stuff, they don't come back the same person. And then people are expected to be. Mm. All
Well,
right, so what I
my thing was, remember I told you we decided that I was gonna stay back and go to school and he was gonna be in another state. And then when I graduated 2 years later, we were gonna come together. Well,
right,
when I graduated 2 years later and we came together, he had already had a head injury from Afghanistan from those 2 years that we were not together. You get what I'm saying?
Oh,
So we
yeah.
really didn't get to experience the married. When we got together, he had a head injury, so that was a whole different ball game. So did I get married to do that? Did I get married to become a caregiver? It's all that stuff you got to think about. So that made it tough too. So yeah, it's got a story.
Yeah, yeah, because that's a part of it, I think, right? Because what they say, like, okay, so when people take their vows to the
It's a
rinse,
part of it.
Which
In
vow do you
sickness
want to?
and in health. In
oh
sickness and in health.
my bad, and then they say, what, like for better for worse, sickness and health, and all these other
Rich
things,
or
right? So
poor.
whenever
It
you
involves. Yeah.
when you get into that, right? When you get into that part of the vows, right? Because it's life is unexpected, right? You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You be this way today and then tomorrow. Because even just think about here, like you could be the man over here and then something could happen. You could have a car accident now. You might not can walk. Now the people who loved you so much now because you have to depend because you were there for them all the time. Now when they have the tables have turned, they got to be there for you. Now you insecure about the people around you now because now they not treating you the same as they did when you was up. And that goes to one of the things that we have to deal with as a man, and I'm just saying this as a not a separation thing, but just as a thing of reality, when you're a man and you're a leader and you have a household or whatever, it doesn't matter who else is not doing whatever in the house, whatever it look like, it's gonna look like it's you. If the lights go off, it's your fault. It's your fault. If the tires ain't, it's your fault. If it ain't, it's your fault. And when you are here each and every day, you don't get the excuse. Like, not saying that it's an excuse to be deployed, because that's a tough job to be over there dealing with that, people trying to kill you and all that. So no, look, I'm not comparing the two. I'm just saying the difference in between having that responsibility on you, no matter what. It doesn't matter. You are that person that is going to get looked at as the responsible person for whatever happens or goes on in your family. You the person that has to pick up the extra job. You the person that it doesn't go the other way around. So when you are that person, we as men, we have to deal with that one particular factor that no matter what, this is how you're going to look. So if you don't control your emotions, you don't control your emotions, yo. You just as well, no matter what's going on in your life, you just as well about to give your marriage away too as well, or your relationship. It don't matter. It'll go away too. As a man, if you're not able to control your emotions either. But do people have to suffer through their vows with a person that they're not compatible with? The time teaches you just how compatible you are with a person. So are you to settle for your vows in a place of incompatibility because you were compatible at the time when you made these certain type of commitments to each other? So that's a question. Yeah, that's a question.
So wait a minute. So this we talking about a Western way of thinking here. We know a lot of cultures, they do arranged marriages. So you don't really hear about divorces and all of the problems from a relationship because each person knows what their role is and that's what they work towards. The love will come. But, from a little girl, she knows exactly what's expected from her as a wife. From a little boy, he knows exactly what's expected of him as a husband. We have free will and free choice. We choose the people who we decide to be with, who we decide to marry, and then we stand back and be like, oh, I didn't sign up for this. Not taking a shot at you, Vivid, because your situation is different. When you're fresh into something, you freshly met this person and they spent more time away than y'all spent getting to really know each other intimately. And people think that intimacy is a physical act. It's way more than that. It's way more than that. So, you know, it's I want to know how you're gonna respond to disagreeing with me. That's something that you learn just by having a conversation. You're not going to learn that over the phone. You're not going to learn that through a letter. You're not going to learn that through distance. So that's the thing when you said when he came back, he was a different person than he was when he left. Well, the person that you had, you held on to an image because it was still fresh, still new. And it's like, hey, it still got that new car smell. And then that person goes away. And then you're like, okay, my focus is up here, but I have day-to-day life. I have everything that's in front of me to do, to take care of all these responsibilities. And then there's the formation of the alpha female that I heard you talk about, because it's like you've had to shoulder the burden. When people think about marriage, you think about two people working together. And when one person is absent, even though I'm from a military family, so I know what it's like when a person is deployed and everything still must go on, because a paycheck doesn't replace what that person does in terms of even having conversation with the kids or giving you a break. You got young kids, you need a break. You know, hey, when that person walked through the door, your turn. You love on our children. You nurture your children. You change diapers, right? You changing diapers. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of them things like,
I'm on, yeah, man. I ain't got no thing. But look, that's the thing about coming back different, because like even in the sense of it not being military, think about how many people who go away for like jail or
incarceration.
incarceration or any other thing, they don't always come back the same either. They be shell shock, PTSD as well too.
Yeah.
And people have to, and I don't want to use the term as if I'm saying that they forced, but some people are. They're forced to have to live through their vows based on a certain person that's not there anymore. So I don't. That's
So,
not the
so
vows
do
though.
you agree? Do you agree with what they're doing now as far as leaving certain vows out? Because that's where they're doing now with marriages. Like you could pick what vow you want to put in your vows, or even just make up with whatever you're gonna say.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I think either one. That's probably up to the individual. I don't think there's nothing wrong with all of the vows that are there. It's just that, would you be able to have would you be able to live throughout these things with the person that you actually chose? Now see, here's the thing that falls back on the man and not the woman, because they say he who finds a wife finds a good thing. So technically the man is supposed to be the one looking for the wife. That's why I was going to talk about the arranged marriage. When the arranged marriage just takes the man, it takes it away from the man, the responsibility away from him. They just give him to somebody, and he didn't have to go out there and figure it out. So yeah, they, like you said, Kev, love come. But what I'm saying is that when it come to marriage, like women hold the gateway to sex, men hold the gateway to marriage, right? Because technically the man is the one that's supposed to ask the woman. So when when it happens that way, like who is like, so I don't really know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if you could leave the vows out. I don't, you could make up your own. Either way, are you, your vow may be tested, even the one that you do keep, right? Like you might not say I'll vow to obey, but you might say I'll obey that, that once a week that I'm going to do X, Y, Z. And then when it come down to that once a week, after 3, 4 years or 5 years, you be tired. Y'all ain't got the bills, is this, that, and the third. And do you want to keep going on? Because look, the lights out, y'all got candles, y'all got cans of tuna. He's still gonna be sitting there like, hey, in my vow, you said once a week. I don't care how mad you are. I don't care you sitting on this crate right now. I know. But you gonna what? So that's the type of stuff that I'm talking about. Like, no matter what the vow is, can you maintain it? Once you say that this is what I'm going to do. And how can you if the person is not the same that you made the vow to? I guess that's my question to y'all. If the person you make the vow to is not the same person that you made the vows to, are you supposed to just force yourself through it?
So that's the thing now, because it's different ways. We talked about that movie Acrimony a while back, a couple months ago. They get married. He has an idea. He knows in his mind, I'm going to invent this engine, this product, whatever it is. It's my life's mission. Okay. She climbs up the corporate ladder, and she's the breadwinner. She's the alpha female. She's the breadwinner. She's everything. And he hasn't progressed. Her love for him has changed. her dedication to him has changed because she doesn't see that he's meeting her where she has risen to. And boom, separated. Then he finally got it fit. He finally finished it. He finally reached that level of success. And this man gave her something for her time to compensate her, but it was never enough because now she feels like she missed out on the greatness that his life has now become. So when do you pull a plug on someone? You know, Stedman ain't never leave Oprah. Oprah's a billionaire. Do you know what Stedman does? Does anyone even? They've never even got married. We don't even know what Stedman does. Like, and it's the thing. You hear more about Gail than you hear about Stedman. When Oprah gets, I've had a long day. Gail's the person who calms me down. What happened to Stedman? That's what I want to know. We was looking for Waldo. I want to know where Stedman is because this is a man who stood by a woman, and when she was going through the adversity, he was there. He was there because I guess he came from some money. He has some money. He helped her in the initial, and he's still around from what I hear. But as she's grown to different levels of success, and she has access to different things, the things that you and I may have enjoyed as teenagers who were poor, now that I can go to Paris or I can go to Dubai, I can go to Australia, I can go anywhere on this planet and experience different things and different cultures. Is that a reason to turn and look at a person and say, well, I've grown and you haven't? Because it's not just a negative thing where a person hasn't launched. It's maybe I've outgrown that person. But did we not think that we were going to grow? Go ahead, Vivi. I see you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jump in there.
I got a flip side of that. I saw a story recently where this woman had a stroke or developed Alzheimer's at an early age. She may be like 60 years old. Her husband, vibrant, still able to, but he has to sit there and take care of her as a vegetable, as someone just staying in the house, can't do nothing. So is he supposed to sit there 6, 7, 8 years, not getting his needs met? Or can he bring somebody else in? Because that's what happened in this story. I guess in their vows they made where she was like, I want you to be happy. So he ended up having another woman who helped take care of the wife while she was in that vegetable state and to her ending days. You know, so you got to think about it like that too. Do you follow the vows and take care of her for another 6, 7 years, 8 years until she passed away and you not getting your needs met? I'm looking and you not getting your needs met.
Do the vows say thou shalt not cheat? Do it say that?
I'm just saying.
Do it say anything about cheating in the vows? Do it say anything about that?
But he didn't even do that. He brought somebody in that helped.
That's called polygamy.
That who helped take care of her, made sure she was good.
He didn't just shit on her like, yo, all right, so you ain't this no more. But that goes to show about real love that men. I know that we have that conversation, and I be trying to help people understand is that, you know, when men fall in love with women, we fall in love up here. You know, it's the idea of it. Even though, like, some people, like, okay, for example, this is how women can know if a man loves them. He includes her in his plan. Now, she may not necessarily be able to do any of the plan, but she's included in the plan because it's here versus it being here. So when a man love you, he love you up here. So it's a difference versus it being women. Women are more emotional. So another thing about certain types of women, they look for a certain type of security in a man. They look for a certain type of vibe and connection from a man. See, a man can be in love with the thought of a woman. Think about it. How many men you know will marry a woman that is not on his financial level versus a woman who is on a certain financial level? She is very rarely a married down. She won't marry a guy that's not at her level or above. But there's a man who will find a woman. He could be a super mate. Look at pretty woman. Wasn't she out there giving that thing away for a few dollars, yo? When she $40 in a biscuit? And look what he did. And fam had money. So it's different for men when it comes to women in that aspect. So a lot of times men do stay. Because if you think about it, I love this woman. She just can't do the things that I was doing before, but I still love her. Yo, a man is only he's not unconditionally loved. So would she stay if it was a vegetable thing and brought another dude in and he helped wash fam balls or whatever? Because that's what she gonna have to do for fam. You know what I'm saying? But women can help each other that way. Think about it. So I don't know, Vivid. What you think? Do you think a man would? What do y'all think? Me, y'all the ladies. Y'all tell us. What do y'all think in that instance? Would it work if it was the flip side, being that y'all know how women are? If the man was a vegetable,
I
do
don't
you?
know if I brought another man in there, he would feel comfortable.
I'm in a
But he a
coma.
vegetable. Wait, okay.
I'm in
So
a
what
coma.
type
I'm
of
a
vegetable
vegetable.
we talking
Yeah,
about?
he ain't gonna know. I mean, he know, but he don't know. Like he can't say nothing. He can't. He can't object.
So we can
I'm
go be like,
talking
yo,
about I'm
we
talking
gonna
about
be
the new
a
boo. I'm talking about the new boo. Would
Oh,
he
the
be
new
fine?
dude.
no.
Yeah,
That's what
watching and
new dude.
still
Will
caressing on my husband. He not. He not. Okay.
Listen, see, this is the thing about guys. So if you, if I try to holler at you and you like, hey, I got a man, right? 9 out of 10 dudes gonna say what?
You can't have friends.
Yeah,
have friends.
you can't have friends. You know, and if you come to him and like, well, my husband's in a vegetable state. Who knows how long he has to live. First thing we gonna think is that Michael Jackson song. He's a vegetable. You know what I'm saying? We jamming because it's like men don't care nothing about that. Go ahead and fulfill your obligations to this other man as long as I get what I want out of it. That's how
And
men
that's
are.
if that's all he want. That's why I
Yeah.
tell women all the time, be very careful when it comes to you thinking that you really got options out here. You don't. There's always a man that'll pump you. But
Mhm.
you are not always gonna find a man that's gonna love you. Yeah, he
Big-
gonna pump you if he love you. But I'm saying you're not always gonna find a man that loves you. Remember, I'm telling y'all, we love up here. You will always find a man that'll pump you. You can use that as motivation if you want. That's fine. If you're thinking that you got options out here and you really don't. You get what I'm saying? Because yeah, dude will pop you. He'll pump. Listen, he'll pump you. Your boy best friend will try. They'll pump you.
Slide in your girl
But
DM.
but if you looking for that person that you know gonna have your back without pumping you, then you gonna have to figure out what it comes when it comes to love, because that's what the love would be perceived to be. Somebody who's gonna be there for you, even if they ain't pumping you. So that's where the vegetable state come in at. Like, yo, I love this person, even if I ain't pumping them. But if I could see him, if I'm around them, if I could talk to them, I love this person. Some people got a best friend in their life that's closer to them than they siblings.
Hmm.
They ain't pumping them, but that's they people. So it just depends on that relationship when it come to men and it come to women being in that particular scenario, whether she can't walk no more, she can't walk, or she in a vegetable state. Yeah, men will stay more in that position because, like, yeah, like,
I heard this story. There was this dude. His wife is a vegetable, and he started the video off by saying he hates his wife. And at first, you like, damn, dude, like she was in a bad car accident, and now she's a vegetable. He's been taking care of her for the last 3 years. He said, but about 6 months ago, like before he recorded the video, it was their anniversary, 10 years. And so he wanted to do this big party. And so he was going through her phone to look for pictures that he can include in a big slideshow. And he finds some text messages from the day that she got into that car accident. She was on her way to go fuck some other dude. So she had a side dude. And in these conversations, she's talking horribly about him. And, oh, I can't wait to come see you because I love you. So then he starts to look for this dude. Like, who is this man that, like, that did this? The dude ended up getting into another relationship 2 days after she got into the car accident. He's now married to somebody else, complete, like, just, and he's like, and now I have to take care of her. And he's like, in that he hates her. Like he loved her up until that point, to now know, and he can't even confront her because she can't even talk back. So he just has to sit there and take care of her every fucking day. And I was like, that's shitty. But that's possible. I mean, that could happen to anybody, and that fucking sucks.
But think about this in this aspect though, right? That's a sad story to hear that, right? And fam still stayed there to take care of her. Now you gotta kind of think about that, right? Like in the process of what they say men can and can't take. You know, they always got that comparison when they say, "Yo, a woman could forgive a man for cheating, but a man can't ever forgive a woman," and stuff like that. They'll say that in a heartbeat. But then you have a story like this where fam knows she a vegetable. It ain't like she ain't gonna know he ain't there. I mean, that's fucked up, but
I mean, but it's real though. It's
but it's
true.
real, right? It ain't like she ain't
She
gonna
really
know he there, but he's still doing what he vowed to do. And like I
and he's
said, if the
very
shoe was on
young.
the other foot, if the shoe was on the other foot, a woman felt, yo, she like, what? Man? Yeah, what?
Throw his ass in that water. Like, what movie
Very
was that?
Oh,
selfish.
that Tyler Perry movie, my man was like blowing bubbles. Like,
She'd have been like, yo, I'm about to
Oh,
get him.
Charles. Be like Charles's ass in that.
Look, and then you know how
Fuck
people
around
got the
with
little
me.
rubber thing at the bottom of the tub, so you don't slide. She gonna pull that up. So all he doing is this in the tub. Or you gonna come back and it's gonna be little bubbles.
that's it.
Yo, that'd be so foul, yo. That's how she going out though. She ain't playing with you. She ain't about to do that. She ain't gonna keep. You know what I'm saying?
Bring her
So,
right to his mama house.
yo, I
You
don't
gotta come get him.
like I said, I'm telling y'all, it's a little different depending on who is who, but it's a serious question that I think a lot of people should ask themselves. Would you force yourself through the vows when the person is different? Now, circumstances like vegetable and car accidents, that's different. But man, when people are different than the person that you vow to,
It depends on the
that
difference, though. Did they get worse? Like, what is
yeah,
it a
because
different?
you think about it, like when you said that earlier, Kev, I was thinking, I was like, well, damn, don't people supposed to grow
Yeah, that's what
together?
I was thinking. People are supposed to evolve. It's just, yeah, some
Like
people you
you
just
don't
grow
grow
different.
apart. Yeah,
Yeah.
like if a person is getting money, then more than the other person. That's why I think in the Taraji movie, why it was really foul that she wanted him back after he got where he got because she didn't believe in him. She only believed in herself. And that's where the foul thing was. It's like, oh, now you want me. But look, I'm just telling you, because you did all this for me, let me break you off something. Now imagine if the shoe was on the other foot, she making all the money, then why would he be considered low? She would just make sure he was up. Because when he got some money, he gave her some. Now, of course, it ain't gonna be enough to her. She already got money. But we talking about for a man who said, yo, I just want to do something for you because you looked out for me when I was down. But then you still left me when I was down. Like that's a hard pill to swallow because you know Chris Rock say that. They say a man doesn't get unconditional love. He only gets love based on a condition that he provides a service. Outside of the service that he provides, he will get no love. And that's a sad truth. You get it, it's a really sad truth. Can't look, don't be able to do 10 push-ups.
Can you do 10 push-ups?
No, I'm just saying, don't be able to do 10 push-ups. And you remember you just told the story about Shorty going to the side dude? Side dude do 25 push-ups. That's why I go to the gym. I ain't doing push-ups.
I kind of want to add something to that too. Like, I don't know. It's a tough conversation. I don't know. We always look at our grandparents and generations before that and say, well, why did marriage work back then? You know, why did it work back then? And you know, technology has probably made it easier for both sides to cheat, both sides to find another person who's interested. But what was the thing that kept them together? Kept him coming home every night, you know, providing, kept her coming home every night, you know, and saying, you know what, it's our mess to work through together. Where's that disconnect? Like, what happened was, like, you know, that's your mess. That's what I talked about the other day. Like, when it did not become both of our responsibility? When is my happiness just my responsibility? Your happiness is your responsibility, or your financial situation, your career, your moves. It's supposed to be us together trying to move forward. And that's the thing, you know, if we outside running from a dog and she fall, oh, we fail. Because I'm not about to leave you. I'm not about to let the dog attack you. I'm about to, all right, I got to turn back around. And now I got to sit here and fight for my life to help you get back up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, it's so much different. It's different for men. Like, you can never have a man be like, yeah, bro. Yeah, my girl cheated, bro. So I stopped paying the bills and the lights got turned off over there. He ain't get no respect. He a clown.
Yeah, because you still in the dark too. So you hurting yourself. It's not like
We on candlelight over here.
yeah, both of y'all in the dark. So you hurting yourself. So that's
on business.
yeah.
It don't work the same. It just don't work.
Let me ask you this though, Kev. But like you said, man, it don't work the same for us, right? In that aspect. But it still goes back to the point of when you are in these particular situations, when you with people, right? And these people change.
Mhm.
It's a separation thing that happens in people when you say they outgrow people, right? It's that
Yeah.
somebody just wants to stay here while the other person wants to grow,
Mhm.
right? And so they outgrow each other. But eh, so where does it come together at when the people grow together? Do y'all not think that it's something that you find in common with your partner? Or is it like what is the defining part? Because you asked a good question, Kev. What defined the old relationships versus the new ones? The old relationships, the only difference between the old relationships and the new ones is that in the old relationships, you know, for us in our community, you got to remember those dudes that had those morals and values came up out of slavery from a person who they watched and they followed them. It doesn't necessarily, like we talked before. Granddad was the breadwinner, but grandma had to go get a step granddaddy when granddad died because he didn't teach her shit. He just came home and gave her the money. So then now she had to go get another person, and then now you got that's how that worked. You know how many step grandfathers used to be in the 60s and 70s, especially people that went to war? Step grandfather. Like, let's not even talk about stepdads now. Like now it's a bunch of stepfathers, right? Because you know, that's what happened. But back then, think about a step grandfather. Have y'all ever like no, that's the statistics that they don't talk about in our community. You know, those are the things that they leave out. Like, yo, listen, yeah, grandma and grandpa stayed together, but when grandpa passed away, guess what grandma had to go do?
Herschel done stepped in.
She done had to wear that same little nightgown that kept him coming home. She had to wear that to the store. You know what I'm saying? Because now she had to get another person to come in. Because what? The role that they made a man play versus the man understanding the fact of, yo, that should be your partner. But hey, who am I? But Vivid, do you agree or you disagree? Should they be partners or do people should react on gender roles in relationship? Or should they be partners?
Mm, I feel like partners, but it does. It's existing less now. It's really existing less now. I was gonna add earlier that what was I gonna say? Dang it, I forgot. Keep talking. I'm gonna remember it.
All right. But we do want to say though, if nothing else though, and I know Meek, you said this before, you know, some people just want to misunderstand you on purpose. And that's could be a sign, an early sign of growth separation as well, too.
Because it's I think we talked about this before. People are going after people that meet their preferences, not their standards. So
Ooh,
that's why they're growing apart. It wasn't,
ooh,
you weren't even
Okay.
supposed to be there. Like that wasn't even your place. And you thought
ooh.
they looked nice. And oh, he's mad funny. And so you wondering why you're growing this way. Yeah. Y'all wasn't even on the same path to begin with. It was all physical. It was all
That's
attraction.
right. All
It was
preference.
your preferences. It didn't have to do with your standards. So if you are
All right.
finding somebody based off of your standards list, when you guys are growing, you guys are on the same path. You guys match up that way. And so you guys should be able to grow together.
You know what? Bar. Because go ahead,
Yeah.
Vivian.
I was gonna say I have a friend now that is going through a divorce because after 4 years or 5 years of her marriage, her husband just up and decided he didn't want to work anymore. And so now she's having to carry the burden of working and taking care of the kids because he just decided he don't want to do it. So how does that fit into a standard preference when you have to deal with that?
So what's his reason for not wanting to work? Let's get
Just
some
don't want
context.
to. You just don't want to.
Okay. This man he could have got injured on the job. He could be
No injury. No injury.
experiencing discrimination. He could be
There has to be
suffering.
something.
It
Like
has to be something.
You know
No,
what
even if
though?
he's not saying it,
he's
it's
just
It's
something.
something.
It's
He proved
it's
it.
certain things you don't get a pass though. Like, first of all, like if you got children, that is your responsibility. Like you don't get to not take care of your responsibility. I don't you feel like it, your emotions. I think we said this earlier. As a man, you have to get in control of your emotions. You cannot allow your emotions to overtake your decision making. Never.
Because I
Yes,
don't
you're
want to
gonna
work
have
either.
emotional moments. Huh? Would you
I said,
say
I don't
me?
want to work either. I wish I could just like, I don't want, I'm just not going to do it. I wish
Right.
I
But
could.
that's anybody right. You don't even have to, it don't matter
I
your
don't want,
gender.
nobody wants to really work.
Everybody wants to
Nobody.
go do something that they don't love to do. But when you have children, like, see, fam don't get no pass in that, Vivid. Like, he don't get a pass, like, because he has children. You saying you don't feel like doing something has no bearing on your responsibility. What you gonna say, Cap?
So what if he is saying, all right, so I'll be Mr. Mom. I'll take care of the house because your job pays 80,000, mine pays 25. I'm out here breaking my back for $8 an hour. So listen, I'll get the kids to and from school. I'll make the dinner. I'll do all the around the house stuff because you're the breadwinner. You're the alpha female. You're the breadwinner. So it's costing us money for me to go to work because childcare is expensive. So I'll stay home with the kids. We can't say that gender roles. We got to pick a
I'm with
side.
that.
We got to
Nah,
pick a side.
look, you right though, Kev, but that's if that's the scenario
We
based
don't know
on
the
they wouldn't be
scenario.
going through a divorce. That's
she
more
wouldn't
like
be
a
going through no divorce if that was it.
divorce, though. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's what I'm saying. That's more of a compromise right there. What you broke down, Kev, is a real plan. That's a plan that
Mhm.
can work for two people who actually love each other to the sense of understanding the responsibility. Like, oh, listen, I make 80 grand. Our bills a month is this. I make this a month. So we more than good. You stay here so you don't have to do that. That's compromise, right? That's a teamwork. But you're not gonna go through a divorce if that is the plan. Because if you saying like, look, I make the most, I'm gonna do all this, why would you go through a divorce though? I think
That's why Shorty
that's
divorced him on acrimony
Well, her
because
family had a
he
lot.
wasn't making
She had a lot of click
a lot of
it.
clackers
people.
in her family. That's
So
what.
She
remember,
talked to
Paul.
Vivid. She talked to Vivid, and Vivid was like, "Girl, you don't need him. You an alpha female. You know what I'm saying? You better come listen to me speak. Black
Yeah,
woman,
Really?
everybody next though.
Really?
No, but remember this.
They
Remember
be
when
trying to play people,
I
yo.
know.
hey, look, remember when Paul gave us that example of his homeboy who let his wife go to school first.
Mhm.
He put
Yeah,
his degree on hold so she could go to school, and then when it was time for him to go to school, she divorced him because she got the job and got with the people that was making the money. She divorced him, and then he wound up getting his dollars, and then she wanted him back. But that's a story that happened all so often, right? Because what? Women very seldom accept men that are not making or, financially are in the space that they are or above. So in this particular sense, he didn't get laid off. Obviously, he didn't get fired. He just woke
He was
up
just
and
like,
said, "Fuck this shit." That's different. That's all I'm saying. I ain't saying
Them
that.
niggas gonna give
dude
themselves
was
to
like,
daddy.
yeah, let's get. Yesterday was my last day.
Yeah,
I'm done.
he
And I'm not,
didn't even
and I'm not
tell.
turning my
Shorty.
badge in.
Yeah, he probably didn't even tell Shorty, yo. Word. He probably like the kid that go to school and his parents don't know that he dropped out.
He was pretending to go to work.
So I don't know. That's the whole thing. If she, no, I don't know. If she going through a divorce, that means that they don't have no agreement, right? Like that ain't the play.
All right,
She
baby, I'm
don't
about to go to work. I'll see you later.
look,
Not the
right.
best.
Listen, you got kids, yo. You got to figure it out. So I don't know. I don't know. We
Yeah.
don't know enough of her business. Like we can have her on if she want to
Yeah,
talk
we need to
about
have her on. We need to have fam on. Nah, because listen, you know me, bro. I am never
Yeah, I
pro
got
guy.
questions for him. I got
I'm never
questions.
pro guys ever. I'm always pro women. I was raised by a single mother, so I don't want to hear no excuses. But I need to understand what his psyche is, where he
Yeah.
feels like if he just straight up said, you know what, I ain't going back into that McDonald's. I ain't dropping no more fries. I'm done. I'm just gonna stay home. My wife got 2 jobs. He just decided to stay home and be an ex. You know, maybe he want to be a YouTuber or something. So.
Men, these men, it's a lot of emotional men.
Mm-hmm.
They sassy.
And that is an emotional decision that he made, fam. I don't even know him. I don't know what it could be, but that's very emotional to me.
We need to invite him on because
Yeah, we
I
have
need to
questions.
understand before I flame
I'm
this
not
man.
gonna do that.
Hey,
I
brother,
just want to
listen.
know.
Look, dudes that do stuff like that is not gonna have conversations with other men. You got to realize, like, because it's gonna be those type of questions. Like I actually do. I've known people who just live off their wife, and I asked them. Me personally, I asked them like, "Fam, you don't want no money." Like
Listen, when I
you
got to this
personally,
country,
like you personally as a man, you don't want no money, B. And they'll just sit there and look at you like, man, I mean, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, so how? Like, why you what is this, yo? Like even the beer we drinking, she bought this?
yeah, yeah. In
You,
the
you
in the
Couch
blood
you
we
sitting
rolling,
on,
couch
the
we
TV
sitting
yeah,
you
on,
like
watching.
yo, like she
little
bought
sandwiches.
yo, son, I don't know. And I like I said, if you're going through a rough time, because I've been there, you going through a rough time and somebody gonna have your back, that's a different story because they ought to know that when you up, you up. And you make sure you take care of shit. That's why for me, if I get down and I get low because I invested in something, hopefully the people around me and jump in because they know I get up. So hopefully I ain't gotta worry about that. But then for the most part, there are people who make emotional decisions like that, and I can't get jiggy with it. I'm sorry.
I just talked to fam. No, he was a nuclear physicist. Okay. So there's only 2 companies in the whole world where he could do this job. And he went so far in his career, he just can't settle. He just can't settle for something that's paying less than that because he's a specialized person, okay?
All right, well,
Nuclear physicist, okay?
Lord.
Fam might need to start making fireworks. Then he might should have just dumbed down a little bit.
He
He
gonna have to
could
do
make a
something
real
with it.
rocket. He might need to go get a job making fireworks then, because technically, your children don't get you. They don't. You know what I mean? Like you don't get to not.
You
You
don't get
know.
to not take care of your responsibility.
Yeah, B, you
No.
don't get to not do that. So, all right, y'all. Well, look, I appreciated tonight's conversation more so than not because this was pretty dope. I like the fact that we can have open and honest conversation about things and people don't feel offended. People don't get into, triggered because, a lot of clips that I put up based on conversations we have, the general public get triggered because it's just a thing, you know. But to be able to speak your truth in a way where it's relatable, and not only that, where you invite other people into your space to help them to understand you more. I think that's so dope. So, Vivid the Poet, thank you so much for
Thank
jumping
you.
on. I just want you to know we gotta have you back on because we want to do. I have a segment coming up soon in a couple of months, and we're gonna have nothing but artists on, different type of artists, right?
Oh,
And we're
okay.
all gonna get on and see. Here's the thing: it's gonna be from music to people who do actual art and poetry and spoken word and stuff like that. And what it is that I would like for me and content creators too, for us to have sessions where we can help motivate each other as well,
Mhm.
right? Because in this whole artistic realm that we live in for being artistic people, because I can ask y'all right now, y'all probably all will agree. Do all of y'all wake up sometimes around between maybe 2 in the morning and 4 in the morning? Do y'all wake up any of those times?
Every
You see
night.
what I'm saying?
Always.
Do you ever wake up on them times? So there it is. So it's a relatable thing about being an artist,
Yeah.
right? But very seldom do we get on there and we uplift each other and we motivate each other. And I think that's what we do. We in so much competition with each other that we don't get to do that. So I'm gonna have a segment. So I'm gonna make sure I invite you back on. And
Right.
do you have your book with you next to you real quick? I want you to show it on the screen. You got it next to you?
It's in my other room next door.
Go
All
get
right.
it.
So how far is your room? You
Want me
make
to
it
go get
sound
it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go get
I
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Unless your doghouse got a doghouse. Because
Right. Because you know what I'm saying? That living room look nice as hell.
you know what
We
I'm
like
saying?
CJ's living room.
Right, right.
Damn. Is that a grand piano? Like, look at that chimney.
Word. But
Yeah.
before we get out of here, y'all already know we gotta let everybody know what we got coming up.
Me.
So, Meek, what you doing, yo? What you got coming up?
I'm working. Finishing up a couple projects this week. Got something I'm trying to work on for my godson going through some depression. So I like to create for little men, like really get them some inspiration and let them know that it's going to be okay. So I got that on the works. I'm about to do some more work back with a nonprofit that I've been working on for Black business owners. Kind
Okay.
of took a break in the last few months, but I'm about to be back up with them starting in March.
Okay.
And yeah, just helping Black entrepreneurs out here in the area and letting them know we got resources, we have options.
There it is, y'all. That's a good look, y'all. And they need it. And we all need it as entrepreneurs out here. These resources and learning how to help cross promote each other too. That's another big thing, y'all, for real. Cab, what you got coming up soon, man?
Well, I'm in the sky at 6 in the morning. Your boy going to the islands. You know what I'm saying? So travel's what I'm on right now. Y'all see the hat, KLE. I'm gonna keep putting that in front of y'all until y'all figure out what it is. So, big things coming, man. Big things coming. So everybody just keep watching.
There it is. All right, so Vivid the Poet, let's let everybody see your book because we want to make sure that people have access to it. 21 lessons my mother did not teach. Or
Never
what
taught me.
never
Never taught
21
taught.
me.
lessons my mother never taught me.
21 lessons my mother never taught me. I am an alpha woman. And
Okay.
so it pretty much defines what an alpha woman looks like. I give 21 lessons and tips that I've learned and attempt to be submissive. However, sometimes I still have trouble. But pretty much I navigated the dating life by myself, having to learn how to be a strong woman. And it's tough out here. It's tough out here, but hey, making it do what it do.
That's dope.
Okay.
So for those of y'all watching, where can they get the book from?
Amazon.
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 All right. So make sure y'all go out there, y'all check the book out. For those of y'all that do check the book out, y'all get up here on the show, y'all see this video, y'all leave comments up there, let her know what y'all think. Y'all reach out to her yourself personally and let her know what you think. Remember, she's an advocate for single mothers who need motivation. Any of you ladies that are dealing with deployment scenarios in your relationship, she's there for you on that end, which is really dope that she has a specialty niche in that, being that she has experience in dealing with
And
it.
also one more thing. Also women who have children who have autism. My daughter was diagnosed last March with autism, my oldest daughter. And so that was another thing I had to deal with coming straight out of the separation was her mood swings. And having to deal with that and having to, figure out what was going on with her. So yeah. So I did a podcast probably like 2 weeks ago, and a mother was up there going through that same situation, and she heard my story, and she reached out to me after. So that too is also a
Oh
motivation.
yeah. We don't want to leave that out then, because it's a lot of parents that's dealing with autism. Children that have been dealing with autism. And it's so many things that's been linked to autism in children too, based on certain things. And I got a couple of things, people we're gonna talk to. We're gonna have them up here. A couple of doctors. We working. I'm working behind the scenes. We are connected with civil rights and attorneys and stuff like that. They've been jumping on the show. It's a lot of different things coming up. So we're going to be able to give a lot of information out. And one of those is that we're going to make sure that we get information out to parents and new moms and stuff about certain things, like don't take Tylenol while you're pregnant. It's a lot of different things that we want to get this information out, because there are things that's been linked to, you know, causes of different things I had to deal with autism in children. And we just want to make sure that y'all get all the information that y'all can. The more information we have, the more preventative we can be going forward. So that's a good look for you. So when it comes down to that, then good. So when we have that show, I'll invite you on. I'll reach out to you ahead of time,
Okay.
and yeah, so you can help inspire some people who are dealing with that as well, because
Mhm.
that's a thing that we deal with in our community a lot.
Mhm.
It's heavy. So yeah, so that's a good look. So what we wanted to do, to all of y'all that was watching, thank y'all so much for jumping on. It wasn't a lot of comments today. Normally we had comments. When we know that people ain't comment, that mean they soaking everything in. So thank y'all so much for watching. It was a bunch of y'all that jumped on live. If this is your first time watching, please, if you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching us on Twitch, subscribe to the channel. And if you're on X, Twitter right now, because we are live out there with Elon and them, like and subscribe. You know what I mean? Because we want to make sure y'all get this information. Next week, we do have. All right. So before I even get into that, I have to say this. I have to address one thing before we get out of here. I should have said this in the beginning, but I didn't. I realize that it's a lot of insensitive people out here in the world, and I get it. A lot of y'all that just feel the need to just voice your opinion no matter what it is. You don't care about who you hurt in the meantime or in the long run. I just want to throw this out here. Understand that a lot of the people that we have up here, these people have lost someone, due to tragedy. Whether you feel like it's right or wrong based on whatever news reports that you've been following, because a lot of these are national stories. But damn, yo, just think about it. These people who they're represented are not ever coming back home again. So if you are going to have your opinions, at least have a constructive one. But damn, if you're going to be just pure evil, man, I mean, damn, I hope that somebody pisses in your cornflakes. I just that's all I can say, because it's terrible that you have these type of emotions about people who lost someone. Yo. It's really weird. So another one bites the dust on that. Double salute to Vivid the Poet for jumping on with us. Thank you so much for lending your time and your ear and your story to the Sparking Conversation crew. And hang on, don't leave yet. We're gonna talk a little bit behind stage. And to those of y'all that jumped on and watched tonight, thank y'all so much. We appreciate y'all. This is Sparking Conversation. I'm your boy Rod One. That's me. That's LED Williams. And don't forget, if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will, yo. So until next time, peace. Yeah. One, two, three,